is another feedHopper video tutorial. This one will focus on the new feedHopper podcast features that we introduced in 5.0. They're significant and they rival dedicated podcast applications. You'll find that you have an offline download manager, that podcasts play in correct track order, and you have a new player. I made, for the sake of this demo, a category called podcasts and just stuck a couple of sample feeds in here we can just show some basic features. You're going to see a new icon indicator alongside each article, which is a paperclip. This signifies that you've downloaded an attachment for offline playing. It could be a video, could be music, could be a photo. The plus sign, it's probably hard to see in the video, but the little green plus signifies that you've never played that content before. So I'm going to go select one that I've never played. In this case, you can play the podcast, and you see that right off the bat we've got the new player that includes cover art. The cover art resolution and quality is completely dependent on the feed at hand. We'll download whatever they are offering. The volume and the AirPlay controls are now down here. You have your traditional fast forward, pause, play here, and new 15-second plus minus buttons so that you can skip through ads or through boring spots thusly. Now we also have track play. The track play buttons go to the next or previous podcast in the order that they are posted in by the author. Because we are a news application, we want to show you the newest news at the top and the oldest at the bottom. However, if you want to listen to the next podcast, you want to start off with, say, part 1 and then roll into a newer podcast of, say, part 2. As you can see, the one that I selected, this is Best of Buzz Out Loud 1. The newer posting is Best of Buzz Out Loud Part 2, but you don't want to listen to Part 2 first. So what we do is we have this next and previous track buttons. They're going to follow the order of the podcast post date. Now you may have noticed that we didn't start at the beginning. It's because this had been previously played for a little bit. Every time you go back to one you've already played, it's going to remember right where you were so you can pick up your listening position. For an unplayed article, it's going to be right at the beginning. So if I want to go to the next track, Best of Buzz Out Loud Part 3, we're going to be at the beginning again. And now you also may notice that the green plus sign disappears and it shows that, this is now a played podcast. So when you're done, you can either exit or you can press this done button. Before I go though, just remember you can do widescreen in any article in feedHopper. So if you're watching a movie over podcast, it's going to work. You just pop out that widescreen to get a much bigger view. So let's get out of here and let's talk about the download manager for a second. If I go into here just to demonstrate a couple of quick things, I can, since I've never downloaded anything on here, you see there's no paperclip, I can immediately stream this podcast or choose to download the file for offline. If I start the download, you'll see a new indicator showing the download progress, and then on its conclusion you see the paperclip. We can have as many concurrent downloads as we wish, and if you want to cancel them, you can either select cancel or you can come right over here and just hit the red stop button right there. Now, in the big scheme of things, you now have new menu options globally for feeds. You can say download all new, and what this does is all the new podcasts, and since this is a fresh feed, everything is new, are going to be marched along and downloaded automatically for you. The download manager built into feedHopper is throttling right now. It's only going to have, say, 5 or so live downloads, and the rest are going to be pending. And if you wait long enough, everything is going to be downloaded. You can choose to say cancel all downloads, and what will happen is anything pending or in progress is canceled for you and you're back to where you were. You can also choose to delete played downloads. That's a way to free up space if you require it. We will automatically delete downloaded podcasts as we delete older articles to make room for newer ones. It's not necessary that you manually delete played podcasts, but we give you that control in case there is something that you're concerned about for size. Now, there are some new options I'd like to discuss. So if you were to look at a feed under the podcast section, you now have download on refresh. What that means is if the article is just downloaded during a refresh and it has a podcast and this is enabled, we will automatically start the process of downloading. We'll add the podcast to the download manager list automatically. And if you know that's what you want, then it's a very convenient thing to do. Also, under global settings, if you go to podcasts, there's autoplay. If you want the podcast to simply play automatically when you enter the article, you don't want to read the synopsis, you don't want to go to the little microphone and say play, you just want it to play, turn that on. We have a new wizard, which is to globally change that download podcast on refresh automatic feature. So if you want that across the board for any application, any feed that happens to have podcasts in it, and you want them automatically downloaded for offline play, you can just do a one-stop setting right here. We'll change all of your items. And that concludes all of the podcast features that we added. Thank you.